People buy cannabis based on two primary things, which are ridiculous. Strain name, THC percentage. Like, oh shit, that's fire, bro. Like, Girl Scout cookies, 30%, right? Most people buy cannabis in that way. And in reality, because the strain name dilemma is real, and because THC is not an equation of potency, those two pieces of information don't tell you a whole lot. There are only two things that people should be shopping for cannabis for. What's the quality of the product before you put it into your body? And when you put it in your body, what's it gonna do to you? Those are the two things that you should be shopping for. And those don't relate to a strain name or a THC percentage whatsoever, not even a lab test. What you should be looking for is actually pungency. If you can barely smell the cannabis, that means the terpenes have evaporated out of the plant, those living hydrocarbon chains that produce smell molecules that are also psychoactive. And those molecules, terpenes, are actually determining whether your flower is going to be a stimulant or a sedative. Sativa, indica. So if you can smell that your terpenes are raging because they're pungent, you're noticing that they are there. You can detect chemistry with your own face by smelling that it's there. So really stinky ganja is gonna be higher quality if what you're looking for is potency. How much THC is in an herb is the percentage by weight of the herb to the THC. That percentage of THC is not an equation of bioavailability. How much of that is crossing the blood-brain barrier is not dependent on how much is just physically there. Obviously, the more THC is there, the higher potential you have for it to cross the blood-brain barrier. But here's the deal. Let's say you've got an herb that's 20% THC and an herb that is 10% THC. How is it possible that the herb that's 10% THC could get you twice as high? Easy. If the herb that has 20% THC is 3 to 6 months old, because it takes that long for a dispensary to sell that amount of weight, then the terpenes that are available in this herb have left the building because they're living hydrocarbon chains in a constant state of evaporation. They're going away. So if your 20% THC herb is older, how many psychoactive molecules are in it compared to an herb that is younger and fresher? So let's say there's a cannabis that has half the amount of THC, 10%. This 10% THC, if it's young, if it's fresh, how do you know? You can smell that pungency in it. That pungency, you're smelling psychoactive molecules, terpenes. And if those terpenes are fresh and you have dozens of fresh psychoactive terpenes that combine with THC and the other cannabinoids, if you have more chemistry that's more psychoactive that you're ingesting, you're gonna get more of an effect from it than ingesting less chemistry. So even though there's twice the amount of THC in this herb than this herb, there's way more psychoactive chemistry in the herb that has less THC. That's why THC is not an equation of potency. CBD is psychoactive. Hemp is psychoactive. The term psychoactive is defined as anything that crosses the blood-brain barrier to modulate brain chemistry in some way. If CBD, phytocannabidiol, didn't absorb in the brain in your CB1 and CB2 receptors and affect your endocannabinoid system the way that it did, it would not be psychoactive. Hemp is psychoactive. CBD is psychoactive. People have to learn that the term psychoactive does not mean intoxicated. Your blood-brain barrier is the filter. You're not supposed to absorb all the chemicals in the world. If you did, you'd probably die. But there are some chemicals that your brain can't absorb that crosses the blood-brain barrier, and cannabinoids are one of them, right? And so are terpenes. How much of this biologic chemistry can my body absorb? That's the equation of bioavailability. How much of this biology is available to me in my body, in my mind? That's what alchemy is. That's why I love cannabis. You're an alchemist when you choose to change yourself and know what chemicals you are using to modulate and change your way of being on purpose. That's like the coolest thing in the world.